Here is the ultimate underrated champions list for patch 14.13, and if we miss any secretly busted picks that you've been abusing the hell out of in the ranked ladder, then make sure to plop them down below in the comments. Up first, nobody thought that we would be seeing this guy near the top again, but welcome back, Dr. Mundo. With the Warmog's buff running rampant on tanks all across the Rift, it still did come as a bit of a surprise to see Mundo scale up the ladder so well with it. Many on-hit ADCs took a pretty big nerf with the Blade of the Ruined King nerfs, and the standard crit ADCs got hit with Ride, taking away the Giant Slayer passive on Lord Dominik's, so tanks such as Mundo can freely build all the health they want, and it's almost impossible to get them dead. Build 3 huge HP items and slap on an Overlord's Blood Mail to suddenly become a god in your own right as Mundo. But this power does come at a price. Mundo, while now becoming an unstoppable force in the late game, his early game is still really bad. You have no way to freely control the lane other than farming with Q if you're in a bad matchup, or trying to land Q as poke if you are winning. One little mistake and you just become a meatball, as you have no CC in your kit to peel with. That being said, if you play the early game safe enough and scale up, you will have 8k HP and tons of damage with Heartsteel, Warmogs, and Bloodmail. The other top lane god that is making her way back is Gwen, as ADCs are not doing so hot at killing mega tanks as mentioned before, so let's resort to a true damage cutter. Gwen has always had a kind of push-pull matchup versus tanks, as early game Gwen can get away with a few good autos and Qs, but is then punished on the first base, because while you scale up to Riftmaker and Nashers, the enemy full buys a Negatron Cloak and nullifies you for a little bit. But once you reach 2 or 3 items, you then retake the side lane pressure and can win just about any duel. In order to make the most out of Gwen's lull phase, you want to shift your focus from trading in lane to pushing and proxying. This will allow you to maximize your CS, and while you are able to clear the wave first, you should be able to fight the enemy jungler post 6. The weakness is versus your laner who itemized MR, so target the enemy that isn't. The last note for Gwen is to make sure you are drafting towards last pick as a top laner. If your mid and jungle lock in double AP, then a full AP top side is not a fun comp to work with. Next up, sign up to GameLeap, goddammit. You gotta bear in mind that this is just a suggested champions list. Click on the link in the description box below right now to sign up to GameLeap and master every single champion we're going to be covering in this happy little video. We've got hundreds and hundreds of guides authored by challenger coaches for every role and scenario you can think up. We've got macro guides, champion specific courses, learning deep dives and more, so hit the link down below right now and sign up. Now, next up, we at GameLeap thought really hard about just skipping mid lane, as Tristana and Corki are still miles ahead from every other mid laner in the meta right now, but there is one champion that is finding success versus these two champs. LeBlanc is trying her absolute hardest to keep up with this meta, as she possesses the ability to one-shot these ADCs in the mid lane, but the level of execution is quite high. The first level depends on how well you can space the enemy mid while trying to land auto W auto. Your first 2 levels are super important for trading, as level 3, the playing field evens out. From level 4 onwards, you must focus on keeping up in CS over constant trading, as that is where many LeBlanc players fall off. But if you can keep up good CS and trade occasionally, once you reach 2 items, you will be able to nuke any mid lane mage and ADC. Again, this champ is one of the few that has the ability to be strong throughout the whole game and put up a fight versus the ADCs, but you must have an insane level of mechanical skill and mental game to make it work. If you're up for the challenge, then by all means, lock in LeBlanc and show up. Now, with many ADC picks going over to mid lane, we are back in the meta where ADC players are picking up mages again to balance out the comps. So, for ADCs, get ready to learn Ziggs and Seraphine. Ziggs has become quite popular in China, especially in the LPL Pro League. His ability to provide wave clear and be an insane pairing with an engage lockdown support is unmatched. Imagine a champion that's entire kit revolves around skill shots. Now imagine pairing up with a big old tank that ensures that your targets can't move. You get the picture. If any bot lane locks in Jinx or Caitlyn or any other immobile ADC and you lock in Ziggs plus Nautilus or Leona, it is basically lights out. You're gonna outrange them with poke and probably take 5 plates before 10 minutes. Seraphine is also making a comeback, as her wave clear is no joke either, but the W is a large reason as to why as well. With so much poke and space created between both teams these days, Seraphine's sustain is what keeps the team ticking. A big debate right now is whether to go AP or Enchanter-like, and honestly it depends. If your team lacks AP damage, then go Seraphs and Cosmic Drive. If your team has an AP champion such as Karthus or Lilia or Zyra, then go Enchanter with Echoes of Helia and Moonstone. Both builds are okay in the proper scenario. Keep in mind, however, your champion is incredibly boring, as you are a scaling wave clear healed / shield bot, so hang in there if you do want that LP. In the jungle, we have found the counter to Karthus, and it is none other than the tree guy, Ivan. Ivan had a phase earlier this season where he was one of the most broken junglers of the patch. Then after a quick meta change to hardcore invading junglers, this tree guy lost his place in the ranks pretty sharpish. But now, with the AP champions going crazy with space making and poke, Ivan found his way in as a counter by using his shields and items to soak up damage, and using Daisy as a method of closing the gap. Ivan also has an insanely fast 2-minute and 40-second clear if done properly, which unironically outspeeds every jungler in the game, which is ridiculous. Abusing this tempo lead means you can set up traps for the enemy full clear junglers and actually deny them a full clear if you play it with your prior lanes to deny them that all-important fated Ashes recall. Doing this completely ruins most AP junglers' games, and with the lead you have, rushing to a Moonstone means you will literally out-heal and out-shield the damage they dish out. Another juicy jungler that is currently climbing is Nocturne. And I guess this is what happens when you let the jungle meta devolve into a full scaling one. The benefit of having these AP junglers comes out in team play when you can play around Karthus, Lilia and Zyra ults in teamfights, but that takes coordination. Meanwhile, on Nocturne, you kinda just speed rush level 6, then find a single target to inflict nightmares upon. The execution is much simpler, thus allowing Nocturne to climb. The drawback, however, is that in the higher elos, many mid laners are drafting ADCs, so that might not pair so well. But if you do pick early, you can at least ask your teammates to draft AP elsewhere, and it can all work out. For supports, Nami is making her comeback with Lucian, as a lot of ADCs have grown tired of this super scaling meta with tons of range in between comps. Lucian Nami breaks that mold with unfiltered aggression both in and out of lane phase. Nami being a prime user of echoes means you can dish out tons of damage while healing allies to full. And that's not forgetting just how strong Nami's ult is at creating space for her allies. The E enchantment also boosts Karthus' ults, Zyra's plant autos, and other allies, so she basically becomes one of the best enchanters in the game, as she is one of the few playable ones left in this torturous meta. Now, this last pick may come as something of a surprise, and the requirements are up on par with LeBlanc, as it all comes down to personal execution, and this is going to be Pyke. Just like Lucy and Nami, Pyke wants to break the mold of perma-scaling tops, full clearing junglers, scaling ADCs mid, and whatever shows up as ADC. Pyke plays are out for blood, always progressing the game with the champ's strong early AD damage. Play the lane level 1 to 3 hyper aggressive by taking bush control and seeing if you can cause any all-ins during this time, as you are super tanky, really strong, and have built-in sustain. After level 3, you want to play Waves bot appropriately, and then roam when you have the chance. Now, for a deeper explanation on how to destroy as Pyke, we've got a happy little guide over at GameLoop.com known as How to Run the Rift with Pyke. Which reminds me, if you haven't already, scroll on down, click the link at the top of the video description box, and sign up to GameLoop.com to get guides on every champ covered in this happy little video. We got hundreds of guides over at GameLoop looking to accelerate your rush up to Challenger this season. So head on over there. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you also did enjoy this one. We're going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.